Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and if you saw my thumbnail, you may or may not have realized it is April Fool's Day. This was my April Fool's joke. Breaking settlement announcement. XRP price set today, $10,000. I thought that was a good idea. Don't be mad at me. Okay. Link to an accumulative $1.9 million was invested in various products on our Link2 platform yesterday and today combined. Number one was Ripple. What do you think our number two and number three are? Number two was Link2. Number three was Uphold. These are my three top private equity holdings as well. Now, listen, the Ripple, these guys, I mean, it's been going like crazy. I don't know if they've got any more. I think they've got a tiny bit more left. I'm not sure. You might go and check. But any time, any one of these times where they go up and put this stuff up could be the last. And so if you've been thinking about it, it's something worth looking at. Okay, for accredited investors, they are my sponsor. I am a customer. Moving along. Okay, Gary Gensler has put out something. He doesn't just care about all you investors out there. He cares about elders, and I'm sure he cares about the children and all of that. But he put out this nauseating thing about elders and caregivers, and Gary's pulling the heartstrings. And so I thought we'd remind you from John Deaton here. Thousands of U.S. holders have had their retirement frozen because they can't convert their XRP to USD or Bitcoin or gold if they experience a little life-altering event, i.e. disability, death, life care for a loved one. They can't access funds because of the SEC's grossly overboard arguments. Shame. Gary should be ashamed of himself. He's right about that. John is. Look, these guys... To think that he's out there every day acting like he cares about investors and protecting investors, and he and the SEC, they let XRP go in the markets for over 8 years and didn't say a word, folks. 8 years, and he continues this sham. It's not just shame that should go around. Some of these people should be held accountable. Now, speaking of people of them being held accountable, Jeremy Kaufman tweeted this out. He's the guy with the library. He says, in New York City for the final round of depositions with the SEC tomorrow, 4 years of continuous harassment finally starting to come to a close. So this poor guy's been dealing with them for 4 years and has tried his best to say, give me options here. Let me figure out how I can work with you guys. No, you can't do that. We can't tell you what you need to do. That we can't advise you. I mean, just what a complete farce this is. Now, Warren Davidson had replied to one of my tweets, and he said, in case you missed it, all right? And he's pointing to this. It's a great hearing topic, but not likely until House GOP majority and resolution of the case with the SEC, in my opinion. Now, I think he wanted us to see this, and I'm trying to be. I don't want to beat up on anybody, but especially not. I don't think Warren Davidson is this horrible guy, and I don't want to just constantly be beating up on the guy, but because look, even though he's not giving us as much as we want, he's at least giving us something. He's at least saying I want to, even if, now he could be full of it. Now, if he's full of it, then I will be the first person to, if he's full of it and this is all talk and we get to this point and he does nothing, I will be the worst nightmare. Okay. Trust me. Well, let me say this. TAIG will be his worst nightmare, and I'll be second place. I'll just show you the nightmare that TAIG is putting out there. It's a start. I said, I'll be with Warren Davidson. I'll be his biggest fan, which is true. I agree with him on 99.99% of what he talks about. That's true, too. I appreciate any acknowledgement. I know at times we come across a bit harsh, but I believe me, it's born of frustration. I'm trying to be diplomatic here a little bit, and because we've caught Warren Davidson saying some things he shouldn't have, but I think that he's at least trying to make it right a little bit here is what I'm getting at. And it's not just me saying that, it's John Deaton here too. John Deaton, and I think I showed you this, but he says, if the House flips, I remain confident the Oversight Committee will have no problem bringing Gary Gensler to the Hill to answer questions about several issues related to digital assets, including inquiries regarding ethics, conflicts, and appearances of impropriety. And he's retweeting Warren Davidson's tweet. So I'm kind of in the John Deaton camp. I don't want to go too hard on these guys. I want to, but trust you, me. We will, if we get to a point where now they can do something and they're still sitting on their hands, trust you, me. Now, we are getting their attention though, and listen to this. This is financial committee hearing, and this is one of the guys. Bill Huizenga. Listen to this.
And then 117th Congress, this subcommittee has held five. And then 117th Congress, this subcommittee has held 5 hearings to date. This being the 6th. And the first one in over 5 months. Since the last time we met as a committee Republicans have highlighted several issues that warrant further attention and oversight. October of 2021, Ranking Member McHenry sent a letter to Chair Gensler asking for clarification on the SEC's authority to regulate the digital asset ecosystem. The subcommittee has taken no action to clarify these statements. November of 2021, Ranking Member McHenry and I called on Chair Waters to join Republicans investigating into the Biden administration's attempt to politicize the PCAOB, the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. To date, committee Democrats have been silent. In December, Congressman French Hill sent a letter to Chair Gensler with several of our colleagues sharing concerns over new, quote, staff guidance on shareholder proposals submitted to publicly traded companies under SEC Rule 14A8. This guidance comes from staff at the SEC, who have become arbiters of social policy for our financial markets. In January, committee Republicans demanded answers from the SEC, raising serious concerns with Chair Gensler's decision to limit outside input on rulemaking by providing unreasonably short public comment periods, yet these 30-day comment periods continue to be the norm. In February, Congressman Stile and I sent a letter to the SEC regarding proposed changes to the 2020 proxy rule advisor rule, a rule, by the way, proposed and finalized under former SEC Chairman Clayton that wasn't even allowed to take effect before the proposed amendments were put forth. And finally, just last week, Republican members of this subcommittee sent a letter to Chair Gensler expressing concerns about the upcoming meeting on climate related disclosure for investors. Of course, Republican concerns were ignored and the meeting and proposed rule went forward. Time and time again, subcommittee and Democrat leadership have chosen to focus on issues that fail to shine a light on the SEC and their chairman, who's embarking on an aggressive rulemaking agenda.
I believe, just through observation, I believe that Gary Gensler is a tool of these politicians. I believe that he's that guy that they send up there that has been trained in the Janet Yellen circular talk, where they say a bunch of bull jargon and it's a bunch of nothing, and it's the design of it is to just talk in circles to all these politicians so that they never get anywhere, and they can just hunker down and then try to push through all these stupid things they're trying to do. I believe he's literally been trained to do that, and he's a go-to toady guy for these people. And but look, when the closer we get to elections, the less smarmy Gary Gensler is going to get, is my opinion, because second this little pencil neck has to think about going in front of Congress and actually answering questions, and his party's not in the majority, this little twerp's got a problem on his hands. And you'll see him fold like a cheap suit. Now, Chris Larson had tweeted, let's see, this was a tweet thread where he had tweeted out yesterday, the current path Proof of work is on an unsustainable, and it's unsustainable and will be met with a climate wall. This is the last thing I want. The crypto industry needs Bitcoin to continue to succeed. Industry is also one that embraces change. Why is acknowledging this fact so controversial? And I commented here. I said one thing that caught my attention is when Pomp asked Chris if he'd talked to BlackRock. Pay attention. There's more going on here. I'm convinced of that, folks. I don't think Chris Larson just came out and randomly said all this stuff. I believe this is building up to something. Now, the Ethereum PR machine is hard at work. What does Vitalik Buterin do in the middle of this? He goes in defense of Bitcoin maximalism. He knows that the walls are closing in on this whole Ethereum disguised whales thing. So what do? You become a torch carrier for the Bitcoin people. Get you some friends lined up, right? Now, I'm not going to say much about this other than I wanted to show you the first line. Hester Pierce had put out this new staff accounting bulletin thing, and I wanted to show you the first line. I write regarding staff accounting bulletin numbered this, which is yet another manifestation of the SEC, of the Security Exchange Commission's scattershot and inefficient approach to crypto. I like that word, scattershot. So she took another shot at Gary Gensler and friends. Now, folks, remember who Elizabeth Warren is best buddies with? That would be Gary Gensler. These people are up to something. You can smell it a mile away. She's now, there's a reason that you're seeing Elizabeth Warren all of a sudden crop up to go after Bitcoin and to go after crypto. And now she's talking about we need our own CBDC. There's a reason she's a toady just like Gary Gensler is. There's a reason that this is going on. There's also a reason, and this is the article about her, but I saw this and I went into the article to find out where she did her interview. Well, she went to the media outlet that toes the line for her and her ilk, okay? I mean, and I actually said something about this right here. I've been in crypto for a long time, and I've observed these creepy politicians and their bought and paid for media for even longer. Believe me when I tell you they are up to something, because they're trotting out this Chuck Todd guy. If there ever was a toady, this guy's a toady. They're trotting out all these people, and they're creating their narrative, and that's Red Flag City. Watch this.
If I buy Bitcoin, am I buying a share of stock, or am I buying a pork belly, or am I buying euros? What am I buying?
Are you buying air?
Oh, wow. Okay, you're going in. What is it?
I'm going in.
Yeah, what is it?
Because that's the point, is that it's
Remember, for Elizabeth Warren and all these government people, Bitcoin represents a lack of control, and that's why she's trying to discredit it, okay? Now, I think a little differently. I think they created Bitcoin. The Bitcoiners don't want to believe that, but I don't think there's any question about it. So I think this is a lot more of a psyop type situation than we even realize, but keep watching.
something that other people believe either is going to go up in value, presumably that's why you're buying it, or think it's going to go down in value, which is presumably why someone else is selling it. But that's it. It's a bet on whether this ephemeral token will become more valuable or less valuable.
All right. Then they've got Cynthia Loomis coming in now. And here she is, same guy.
One of the fears.
Now, remember, this is the same woman who the other day took a shot at Chris Larson and has never done, to my knowledge, she has never done much of anything except defend Bitcoin. I can't find anywhere where she has defended Ripple or had a problem with the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. We gave her the benefit of the doubt for a long time, but I haven't seen it.
You hear a lot right now is this idea, is Bitcoin in particular, but perhaps Bitcoin, all of the coins that have been traded these days, is this the credit default swap of this decade, meaning the way the housing market and the derivative trading mechanism of taking these loans, putting them all in a package and doing it, which is not what Bitcoin is, but I can see why people want to compare it. If there is suddenly a collapse, that it could actually drag us into recession because of how big this industry is and how volatile it is. Do you accept that fear?
Well, yet another reason why Senator Gillibrand and I want to create this regulatory framework, because by giving the SEC additional regulatory authority and additional disclosure authority, requiring when these assets are bundled in ways that make them look like securities, subject to the Howey test, subject to the SEC's jurisdiction, there will be sufficient information available to assure against the kind of risks that we normally don't deal with until there's a crisis.
Do you think the digital space is so big that it could create a credit default swap-like impact on our economy if suddenly a whole bunch of holders of Bitcoin decided, maybe this is air?
Yeah.
Senator Warren says it's air. Maybe it is. I'm out.
And as soon as enough people start saying, I'm out, I mean, look, this has worked. The whole digital world has worked very much like a bubble works. And that is, it keeps going up based on what? Based on additional production? No, based on the fact that it has demonstrated that it solved all these other problems and it is now being used exponentially in areas where it hadn't been used before. Not really.
She's working for somebody, folks. Chuck Todd works for somebody, and it ain't NBC. I can promise you that. Moving along, I wanted to show you this before I go.
Payment.
This right here is about
the relief, picturing
taxes,
a last minute.
It starts about right here. They're talking about about your taxes, and they mention Bitcoin or crypto here in a second. Listen to this.
What are your don'ts for folks who haven't done their taxes yet? I know Bitcoin is on your list. What should folks with crypto investments keep in mind?
This is what all folks should keep in mind. They want to know if you have crypto, if you don't have crypto, if you've sold it, if you haven't sold it. There's a yes/no box, and you can't leave it blank because you're like, what are they talking about? I don't do anything with crypto. You have to say no then if you didn't do anything. But if you did anything, you want to check yes. Just don't miss checking that box. That is very important. And make sure that if you don't have the funds because you owe taxes this year, don't just wait because you say, I don't have the money, I'm just going to wait and I'm not going to file my taxes. File for an extension. You could get an extension.
There you go. So I want to remind everybody that today, on April Fool's Day, but this isn't a joke, Clinton Donnelly from CryptoTaxAudit.com, who is one of my sponsors, he is going to be doing an event, What to Do Now. Get your questions answered. Learn about our crypto tax tools. So he's going to be doing an AMA today, and you can go, if you go to CryptoTaxAudit.com, and I'll put it at the top of the description of this video, when you go to that website, this pop-up will come up, and then you just hit save the spot, and you can get yourself a spot. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family to go check out Clinton Donnelly at CryptoTaxAudit.com.